Hi FlossTube, I'm Stephanie, the Ivy House Crafter, and this is my third Stitch With Me video. You get to be sideways today. That's how I've got it set up. But on this piece it doesn't particularly matter because this is a biscornu and all four sides are the same. Yay. The front is completely done. Cute lighthouses and starfish and beach huts, and I showed this on my last update video. I'm sorry if the camera jostles when I move. I have the what's it called? The tripod. I have the tripod kind of leaning against my chair so that I can get a good angle for stitching, and that means that every time I move it jostles the camera just a tiny bit. We'll live with it. So the back of the biscornu is sandcastles and sailboats. Aren't they so cute? They're very small, just like everything else in this pattern, and I think they're just darling. And anyway, right now what I'm working on is just the border around the center, and then it will be done and I can sew up the biscornu and send it off to its intended recipient. My little toddler Matthew is downstairs with the older kids and my husband, and he is apparently not very happy. So if he makes a bunch of whining noises, I apologize for that. There's nothing I'm gonna do about it right now because I'm up here and he's down there, and he's got plenty of help to keep him occupied. He's just kind of grumpy today. So we started this morning out with a bang, literally. I woke up about 6:30 to a small bang sound, and then the power went out. I could tell because the air conditioner and the fan stopped blowing. I was not looking forward to a day without air conditioning or fan or power in general, because today it's supposed to get up into about 100 degrees. And that's just ridiculous. I don't like it when it's too hot. It's really... ugh. But after about 3 hours, a little less than 3 hours, we got the power back on. Apparently what had happened was a small animal, like a bird or a squirrel or something, had come in contact with, I guess, like 2 wires at a time, or I don't understand exactly what happened, but it was bad news for the animal because it died, obviously, and bad news for everyone in our neighborhood because we were out of power for about 3 hours. But it's back on, they got it fixed, and all is well. Our air conditioner is on, and and fans are on. Let's see. Yesterday, I took the kids on an impromptu trip to the zoo, which was a lot of fun. We have zoo membership this year. We kind of, like each year, choose something to have a membership in. There's a lot of things in our area that offer yearly memberships. We've done the Natural History Museum a couple times. We did Red Butte Gardens. We've done the Clark Planetarium. And this year it's the Hogle Zoo. And so I thought that we would just have fun and go hang out at the zoo for a few hours. And then Jeff got off work fairly early and was able to come join us for part of it, so that was nice. And we got to see part of the bird show. We got to see the elephants getting a bath. We got to see a training demonstration for the seals and sea lions. That was pretty fun. It was an enjoyable day. Very hot. It got up to 99 degrees yesterday. But the zoo has areas where they have like the mist fan, where they like blow out a mist of water, and they have a a fan that blows it, like a great big fan. And so you can just like stand in the mist and get the water blown on you, and it feels really nice. And they have a kind of a splash pad play place at the zoo as well. So we took the kids there and they got all wet and just had a grand time. Then we came home. And today, later today, we're probably going to go hang out at Chuck E. Cheese for a while because it's my son's birthday and that's where he wants to go. It's not something we usually do, but birthdays are special. He was a bit disappointed with how his birthday started out. It's like, happy birthday, have a blackout. And he couldn't play on the computer. He couldn't do Minecraft because the computer wouldn't turn on because there was no power. So he was a little sad about that. But then my husband Jeff, went and bought donuts for breakfast, and that cheered him right up. Oh no, that went in the wrong spot. Okay, where is it? There we go. My oldest daughter this week has been at girls' camp. She's still out there today. They are coming home tomorrow, and she'll be sunburned and filthy and happy as a clam, I hope. This is her first year at girls' camp. She's very shy, might be a bit too mild of a word. Very, very reserved, very quiet, very uncomfortable in social situations. So I'm really hoping that she's doing okay up there. There we go. One of the leaders messaged a picture and a couple videos of the girls on a hike, and she seemed to be doing pretty good. She was participating, which is really good. The kids just keep growing up, and you know, it's so cliche to say they grow up so fast, but it's true, and it does like sneak up on you, and it's kind of being interesting to see the kids growing and becoming their own person, and developing their personalities and everything. Somebody's coming upstairs. Hello, Thomas.
Hello.
I'm filming a stitch with me. He just came up to use the bathroom because everybody comes upstairs to use the bathroom. Apparently the upstairs bathroom is significantly better than the downstairs bathroom. I don't know why. They're both fully functioning bathrooms. It's just everybody likes the upstairs one instead of the downstairs one. It's kind of funny. Not really sure what else to talk about. I'll come up with something, I'm sure. I designed a new pattern. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen it, and I'll show it in more detail next week for my update video. It's called Medieval Motives, and it's available in my Etsy shop, and I'm really excited about it. I've got fabric, and I need to make sure that I have all the floss for it, and then I will be starting that one pretty soon because, well, obviously I don't have enough projects going right now, and I need more, right? Always need more projects. It's based on more of the patterns from Charted Peasant Designs from Saxon, Transylvania. And I adapted them into a new pattern, and it's colorful, kind of rich colors, and very, it's got nice symmetry and balance to it. I just think it turned out really neat. That's good. Oh. Somebody's at the door. Okay, I'm back. Had to go answer the door. And while I was gone, or while I had the video paused, I went ahead and started a new thread. And I have considered, what else should I talk about? But I didn't get any further than that, so I still don't know what to talk about. Thought about looking up a tag, but didn't get that far. What kind of questions are in tags? What's my favorite pizza topping? That's a good one. I love olives. I love vegetables like artichoke hearts, zucchini, spinach, tomatoes. I love all of those on a pizza. When I was a teenager, we would get Papa Murphy's every Friday. It was kind of our thing. And at least one of them was always the vegetarian delight. And that stuff is amazing. We weren't vegetarians by any stretch of the imagination. The other pizzas that we got were like, you know, triple meat, all that stuff. But the garlic sauce and all the vegetables is just really, really good. And now that I eat plant-based and I try to avoid dairy and things like that, when you order the pizza online, you can ask for it without cheese, and it's not exactly the same, but it still has most of the stuff that I loved about the vegetarian delight, namely the garlic sauce and the vegetables. So that's a really yummy pizza. When we make pizza here at home, I like to load it up with vegetables, and I make this white pizza sauce. It's very garlicky, very herby, and it's creamy, and it's made out of cashews. Cashews are like magical. You can soak them and blend them up into any creamy thing that you want, and it's really good. I've made ice cream with cashews, ranch dressing, sour cream, cheese sauce, all sorts of stuff. Really yummy. Let's see. What other kind of tag questions are there? Here's one. How many places have you lived? Since I was in a military family, that's a fun question. we didn't live in nearly as many exciting places as many other families that we knew. But I was born in Florida, and we lived there for, let's see, until I was about 9.5, and then we moved to Oklahoma. Lived there for 3 years, and from there we went to Japan for 4 years, and by that time I was a teenager. And then from there we went to California. Then I went to college in Idaho, Brigham Young University, Idaho. That's where I met Jeff, my husband. And we were amazed to find out that we only lived that our families only lived a couple hours apart down in California. Then, so we got married. We lived still in Rexburg, Idaho, because we were still both going to school. After we graduated, we moved to Caldwell, Idaho, and lived with my parents for a little bit while we were looking for a house, an apartment. We weren't doing houses yet at that point. But, yeah, we lived with my parents for a few months, and then got our own apartment. Sorry, I jostled the camera. And then Jeff landed his dream job working at a clinical science laboratory, reference laboratory in Salt Lake City. And that's, we moved down there. We moved into a tiny apartment that I hated the whole time we were there. I grew to love the area, but I hated that apartment. It was tiny, it was cramped. There were roaches. There was like a major roach problem. The kitchen was the size of a closet. And I love cooking and baking. And yeah, that kitchen was unacceptable. So we were there for a year, and then we bought a house, and that's where we are now, still in Salt Lake City. And that's all the places I've lived. It's kind of funny, until we, well, the first 3 children that I've had, we moved, like, from one apartment to another, or from one state to another. No, just one apartment to another. Anyway, we moved while I was either 8.5 months pregnant, or had just had the baby. We moved from a 1-bedroom apartment to a 2-bedroom apartment when I was very close to delivering Zaylee, my first. We moved from Rexburg to my parents' house in Caldwell when Thomas was only 2 weeks old. And then we moved from our stupid tiny apartment. Yes, it was stupid. From our tiny apartment to our house when I was 8 months pregnant with Audrey. So it's interesting having to pack up and move when you're either so huge you can't see your toes, or recovering from childbirth and have a newborn. But we survived all 3 moves. And now we've been in this house for about 8.5 years. I don't think that's the right place. There we go. And it's starting to feel a bit cramped. A, because I'm like a hoarder and just need to go through and clear stuff out, get rid of a bunch of stuff. But B, because we have 5 kids and live in a 4-bedroom house. I know it can be done. Like, I'm the second of 8 kids. And we never lived with more bedrooms than 4. I don't know how we did it. How did we survive? So when we lived in Japan and we had 8 kids, it was a very small house. My dad was only enlisted. If he was an officer, they would have given him a much larger house. There was a family that moved in that had 8 kids as well, but he was their dad was an officer, and they knocked down a wall in a duplex to make room for his family. And we got stuffed into a tiny little 4-bedroom house because Dad was only enlisted. That's the way it is in the military. But, let's see. So, Mom and Dad were in one room. I was sharing a room with my older sister. And then the 3 younger girls were in a room together, and the 2 boys were in a room together. And then Samuel, my youngest brother, was born. And for a while, he was in a crib in the room with my sister and I. My sister and me. Yeah, anyway. And that worked for a while, but it got to the point where he was keeping us awake, and every time he woke my sister up, she would go get him and take him to Mom, which would wake Mom up, and it wasn't that he needed to be up, it was just like nighttime kind of fuss a little bit and then go back to sleep, except he didn't get the chance to go back to sleep because we were like, no, just take him to Mom because we want to sleep. So it wasn't the ideal solution for any of us. And so my parents cleared out the hall closet, which was just big enough to fit his crib. And that's where he slept, in the hall closet, because there wasn't room for him anywhere else, except for our room, and that wasn't working. So I know that a big family can fit into a small house, but it's not always the most pleasant of situations. And I know that we will fit so much better into this moderate-sized house if I just go through and get rid of a bunch of stuff. I've been watching episodes of Hoarders and just thinking, oh my gosh, that could totally be me one day if I if I don't go through and get rid of stuff. I have supplies from craft projects supplies that I bought years ago and never did anything with, projects that I started years ago and never finished and haven't worked on for years. Bedding that would be better off in the trash because it's so old and worn out. Why am I saying all of this? Let's see, before I embarrass myself too much, maybe I should think of another tag-like question. Oop, caught my finger. Can't think of anything. Sometimes it's nice to just sit and stitch in silence, right? Does anyone have any fun plans for the rest of their summer? As far as I know, we are just going to be hanging out here in Salt Lake. I think Jeff was wanting to go down to California at some point, see his family. I don't know if that's actually going to happen or not. I need to make some decisions regarding how homeschool is going to go this year. We've been using a program, well, a website called Easy Peasy All-in-One Homeschool. It's been nice, but I'm not sure I want to continue with it. I might, but I might not. So I need to do some thinking about that. Because one thing about homeschool is it changes. Like, as your kids get older, their needs change, and maybe something is working for a while, but then it isn't working anymore, or you want to see if something else would work better. And, you know, there's no set way that you have to do it. First couple of years I just put together curriculum on my own, and then we did the Easy Peasy. I mean, we might still use it this year, but I'm not sure. It was definitely nice to have it. We started doing the Easy Peasy instead of me being kind of in charge of what they were learning exactly, because I was pregnant and I was going to be having the baby. This is when I was pregnant with Matthew. And so I needed something that the kids could just essentially do on their own. And it was really, really nice to have that as an option, and it worked well. They were able to, you just get on and go to what day you're on, like day 5 or day 13, whatever, and everything, all the assignments are spelled out, and you do the assignments and you're done. So it was really nice that I didn't have to be as involved because I had the baby. And then this past year, which was our second year using Easy Peasy, again, it was actually pretty necessary to have something that the kids could do on their own and do their learning without a great deal of assistance from me, because I've mentioned before I have issues with depression and anxiety, and my postpartum depression was really bad. And got some sort of notification on my phone. Somebody texted me or something. But at least with Easy Peasy, even on my worst days, the kids were learning and getting their schoolwork done. So, yay for that. But I am feeling like I might be okay to be more involved with the schoolwork this year. I'm hoping that's the case. I think I'm going to finish this thread up and then call it a day as far as the video is concerned. I wonder what I'm going to title this. You already know because you're watching it after I have uploaded it and named it and all of that. But I'm filming it right now and I haven't made those decisions yet. Okay, I think that's about all that I can get out of this. Flash my backside here. It's not that bad of a backside, if I do say so myself. Ta-da! And here's how far I've gotten. I'm excited to get this done and sewed up into a biscornu, see how it turned out. It's been a lot of fun to work on. I love how tiny and detailed it is. It's amazing how much detail you can fit in with just a few colors and some tiny stitches and some back stitching. And I just love it so much because it's just so little. Anyway, thanks for hanging out with me, putting up with my disjointed ramblings, and I will see you for an update video next week. Happy stitching, everybody! I don't think I'm going to do this wave thing anymore. It just looks funny. So, happy stitching, and see you next week. Bye.